All right, so these are the verbs that we use for input. So we have input itself. We can use the get. We could use read. These are the three main verbs that we use. All right. For output, the basic verbs that we use for outputs, we'll use print, we can use display, we can use write. All right. These are the basic verbs. These are the verbs that we use for output, and for input we use these. All right. For processing, we may use like select, and also say set. All right. So those are the basic verbs that are used. All right. So we may be asked to write an algorithm or to write a program, be it in Pascal or otherwise, that involves any of these operations. So you may be asked to write something that involves getting input from the user, may involve some processing, it may involve some amount of output. All right, so you have to learn how to interpret the questions. So if you're asked to, let's say you're asked to prompt the user for something. If you're asked to prompt the user for something, it simply means that you are to get something from the user. And if you're gonna be getting something from the user, it simply means that you're asked to do some form of, or to allow some form of input to be carried out. All right. So we're asked to prompt the user for a number. That means we're gonna be asking the user to enter a number, which means input would be involved here. You could be asked to prompt the user maybe for 3 numbers, for 10 numbers, for undetermined amount of number, unspecified amount of number. All of that implies that you're getting inputs. Are you following that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, so if we're asked to write an algorithm to prompt the user for a number, the first thing you need to do is to think about where you're gonna be storing the number. You have to think about the variable that you're gonna be using to hold that number. All right. It's just like going to the river. If you're gonna go to the river for some water, to the spring for some water, you can't go with a bare hand. You definitely have to walk with what? What would you take if you're going to the river for water?
Sir, a
Jug or
bucket.
jug.
You'd want to take a bucket, all right? And you know, depends on what you are going to be collecting. You may want to take different types of container. So if you're at a party and they have soup there and they have liquor, I'm sure you would not necessarily be taking both in the same cup. So if you're going to take some cold beverage, you would want to probably take that in a separate container from what you maybe take your soup in. And so for each input that we are going to be accepting from the user, we need to have separate container. All right. So if we're asked to do something like this from the user for a number, we could say something like input. So I'm going to be using one of the verbs. If we're asked to write the algorithm, so the algorithm would just be the algorithm or the pseudocode, we would definitely use one of these verbs, whichever one you want to use. If you want to use input, if you want to use get, if you want to use read. So I could say input, the number, as I said before, will have to be stored in a container. So you can just give the container a name. That's going to be the variable name. So you could say something like input X. That means the name of the container that the number will be entered in is X. All right. Is everybody clear with that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, if we're asked to, let's say we're asked to prompt the user to enter his name and age. How many inputs are we getting from the user in this case? Are we supposed to get from the user?
2, sir.
2. All right, so tell me what you'd write to get this. What would you write for the algorithm?
Print your name, input A.
All right. Input what? Repeat what you said, please.
Print your name, input A.
Print your name and then input A. Okay. What the input A stand for? What the A stand for?
Integer.
No, what does the A represent? Why do you say input A?
So can input their name in right there.
Oh, the A is the name that is the variable for the name. That's what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. And why do you say print your name?
So the person can know what they're supposed to write.
Oh, very good. Right. So it's really encouraged that we put a little prompt, as you rightly stated. So we before the input statement, may want to put a message. So this your name has to be in quotation to say that we want you to enter your name. All right. Without putting the print statement to say your name, all the user is gonna see is a blank screen with a cursor blinking. All right. So anything else for this one?
Print your age and enter B.
Print your age and what?
Input B.
Input B. All right. Is everybody following that?
Yes, sir.
Hmm?
Yes, sir.
All right. Good. I suppose you're asked to do this one. What's your asked to do this? I want for you to type it, write it, and share it in the chat. Write the algorithm and share it in the chat. Are you guys finished? All right, good. Okay, very good. All right. Good. So I think everybody has the correct answer. All right. So as you guys rightly highlighted earlier, if we just put the input statement alone, like inputs A, this is what the user would see. They would not know. This is the screen that the user would see on the program over here, where it's a terminal. So because as a programmer, you will know what to enter, really, but the user would not know what to enter. All right. So it would be more informative to the user, more user-friendly to have the output statement as well. So if you want the name, it would be better to say print, enter your name, and then you have the input, whether input A, whatever you want to store the name in. So now it says enter your name. Instead of just putting the cursor to blink there, the user will know that a name is expected, so they can type in their name. But without this on it, the only thing the user would be seeing is this. All right. All right, so we understand how to do this basic algorithm. If you have not yet done the one for your SPA, I want you to do it. So this is asking you to create an algorithm that accept the bus registration number, the owner name, and the number of entries. Write that algorithm for me, please. Just do that part. Just get the bus registration number, the owner name, and the number of entries. Everybody heard me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, you don't have to paste that one in the chat. Just make sure you get it done. Because everybody shouldn't have the same thing for their SPA. So just write yours. You can use whichever variable you want to use. Just let me know when you're finished.
Yes, sir.
You finish? Yeah. Welcome. You finish? Oh, students, you have to speak. I don't know what is going on unless you speak, all right?
Not finished as yet, sir.
Huh? You're not finished? That's what you're saying? Also, let me just highlight this too. If you want to get the name from the user, when you write a print statement, don't just put print, say name or last name, whatever you guys put there. You need to put this in anything that comes after the print statement. If it's a message that you want to convey to the user, you need to put it in double quote. It has to be a string literal. Unless you want to print out a variable, you wouldn't put in a double quotation. So if you want the last name, put it in double quotes. Otherwise, it's gonna be wrong. And don't just put last name. You may want to say something like enter your last name or something like that. Just instruct the user as to what exactly you want them to do. Or you could say, please enter your last name. You know, something like that would be a bit more informative. If you want to test the algorithm, you can use this. The only thing is that if you're going to be using this to check it, yeah, the only verbs you can use for output would be print and input. But this is actually a programming language called Basic. But most of the algorithms that people write are based on this. So I can share the link if you guys want to use it. So you have to prompt the user for three things. You need to get the bus registration number, the owner's name, and the number of entries. It should be finished by now. Is anybody finished? Are you finished now?
Yes, sir.
All right, so the next task. All right, so this that you guys would have done to just prompt the user for some information. We're gonna look at how we can implement something like this in what's the programming language you're supposed to use for your SPA? What's the name of the language? What's the name of the programming language you're supposed to use for your SPA? What is the name of the programming language that you are using for your SPA? Or that you're supposed to use to do your SPA? Some person's checking off. Are you hearing me, guys?
Sir, I'm not sure.
Okay. Did you get a SBA? Did you get the SBA question paper?
Sir, me can't find my paper.
So how are you gonna do the SBA without the paper?
Sir, me have to go look for it.
When you plan to look for it? I mean,
Today, sir.
oh, oh. What about the others? Do you know the programming language that you're supposed to use?
No, sir.
No. Okay. Do you know any programming language at all? Do you know of any programming language? Do you know the name of any programming language?
Yes, sir.
Give me one.
SQL.
SQL. All right. Okay. It's not really that's not really a programming language, but I'll accept that. Anything else? Anybody else?
Sir, JavaScript or something like that.
Java script. Okay. All right. Good. All right. How many of you were online Wednesday when we were looking at the loops? police, yeah. Did you use any programming language that time? Did we use any programming language, guys? All right. Do you have an IT notebook?
Yes.
So you write down notes in. All right, you guys need to make notes, all right? You may also need to get the syllabus for Csec so you can be on top of things. Right here on the screen, there's a programming language. This one is called Quick Basic. So this one is called Quick Basic. What is this called?
Quick basic.
Quick Basic. This is different from the algorithm. It's different from the pseudocode. This is a language. It has rules. It has syntax that you have to follow to write the programs. It might look similar to the algorithms that you write, but this has its own rules. So for example, if you leave out the double quotations here, it's gonna cause a problem. So it's not gonna compile, it's gonna give you an error, right? So while this is it's something that you may get away with if you're writing the algorithms. If you're writing in a particular programming language, you have to adhere to the rules of the language. And I'm sure we spoke about programming languages before, but it seems like you guys are not going back through your little notes. If you're taking notes, I don't know if you're taking notes. I remember even giving you guys this. Where we spoke about the different type of languages. We have the machine language, which is the very first programming language that we have, which comprises of just zeros and ones. You remember anything about that one?
Sir, I put it in the chat.
Okay. I think you put that in the chat when I was asking for the programming language that you're using to write your SV. So we're not using machine language to write the SV. But machine language is a programming language. And then we have the assembly language, which is written in a symbolic form. And you will be seeing these on CXC and the CXC exams. You need to make a note of them. You need to go back. Do you have a textbook? Do you have a textbook for IT?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, you need to find a chapter on the programming languages and read it up. You need to know about them. I can tell it will be on the exam. Something about it will be on the exam. So you have the machine language, you have the assembly language, and then you have the high level languages. I have others in addition to high level. So on the high level, that's where you have the quick basic. So you'd have Pascal, C++, you have Java, Python, among many others. Which of the languages listed here are you expected to use to write your SP?
High level, sir. High level programming language.
Which of the high level programming languages? Give me some examples of the high-level programming language.
Pascal, sir.
Okay.
Python, sir.
Python. Okay.
Pascal.
Pascal. All right. So the one for the SBA is which one?
Pascal.
Pascal. You need to repeat it. So Pascal is what you're supposed to be, you're gonna be writing, and I find it surprising that you couldn't tell me a while ago because we have been talking about Pascal. Pascal, we have been talking about. If you look on your SBA sheet as well, down here it says using the programming language Pascal. All right. So Pascal is what you're gonna be using to write your SBA. So we're using Pascal as the programming language to implement that pseudocode that you would have written, or algorithm that you have. So all right, so if we have this as our algorithm and we wish to write this in Pascal, in Pascal, what do we use as the output statement in Pascal? What do you use as output and input statement in Pascal?
Can you repeat?
Writing and reading.
I'm asking what is the output statement in Pascal?
Write Ellen and read. Oh, the output, sir. Read Ellen.
The output is not read Ellen. Read Ellen is what? What is read Ellen, students?
Sorry, input,
And what is write Ellen?
output.
Good. So if we have this and we want to write this in Pascal, let's see how it would be implemented. And I don't intend to go back through this again because I did it already. So I'm going through it this time. So you guys need to pay attention. I'm gonna bring up the Pascal compiler, which is here. All right, so if we have the code that you guys wrote earlier on, this is not in Pascal. For a number of reasons, it's not in Pascal. The output statement is not what we use in Pascal. We don't use print in Pascal. We don't use the double quotes when we're doing the output. We don't use input in Pascal. So we're gonna look at how we can convert this algorithm And I want for you to do the same in converting the one that you did for the SPA to Pascal. So if we are converting this to Pascal, we start by giving the program a name. So I'm gonna say program and give it a name. Name can be anything. The only thing is that you should not have any space in the name. So if I put March space 2, I mean, that's gonna be an error. All right. Now, each variable that is used in the program must be declared. What are the variables that we have on the screen? What are the variables that we have on the screen?
A string.
You said string a while ago?
Yes, sir.
All right, string is a data type, but what are the actual variables that we have on the screen? In the program on the screen?
A, B, and C.
All right. So where in Pascal do we put the variables again? Where in Pascal do we put our variables?
Sure, under var.
Under var, right? So if we're gonna put in the variables, we're gonna put in a section called var, and then we put our variables. A, what's the data type for A?
Sure,
Somebody repeat that, please.
first name.
No, the data type. The data type is gonna be either, the data type can be like integer. This is for whole numbers. If the variable is gonna store some whole numbers, we use integer. Or we can use real if it's something to do with fraction. We have character, is for a single letter. We have Boolean, which is for true or false, or yes or no. And we have string, is for 2 or more. So if you have 2 or more letters, a character can be a letter or a symbol. It's gonna be a string. So you have to know what type of value you're gonna be storing in the variable. So the variable A, what type of value will be stored for variable A, which represents the first name? What makes up a first name?
Sure, do I work out the string?
So it could be a string. All right. So if we declare in A, we declare A as string. Suppose we're declaring something like age. Which data type would they use for age?
Integer, sir.
Integer.
Integer. Suppose we're declaring something like price of an item. How do you declare the price of an item?
String, sir.
String. Give me an example of a price. Can I have an example of a price? How much? What's the price of a Pepsi?
150.
200.
Okay. So would that be a string?
No, sir.
Which of them would it?
Pepsi, 150 or 200, sir.
Yeah, which of these categories would the 150 fall under? Or the
Sir,
$1.99
integer.
integer? All right, not bad. But the integer is just a whole number.
So real that.
So it will be best to use real because it's possible that you may have a price like $2.99, $2.75, as in 2.75 and so on. All right. Are you following that?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Suppose you want to store something like something that is true or false. Like, let's say we want something like the marital status. And let's say we have a variable called married. And it's gonna be, we want to store true or false for it. Which data type would I use?
What did you say, sir?
If we have a variable called married, I want to store true or false for it. Like if somebody asks, are you married? Are you married?
Boolean, sir.
Yes, you'd use Boolean for this one. Suppose we want to store the middle initial.
Character.
Character.
So depending on what we are representing, we may want to choose from the different data types available in Pascal when we are declaring the variable. So each variable that is going to be used must be declared. If you have more than one variable of the same type, you can actually list them beside each other. So like B, which data type is B going to be?
String.
String. So since we have a string up here already, we can just put the B beside it. Just put a comma and put the B there. What about the date of birth?
String, sir.
String, all right. So you can just list, once they're of the same type, just put them beside each other. All right. So before the variables can be used, they must be declared. So I'm gonna begin. And then we have our end here. All right. Now in Pascal, what do we use to replace print in Pascal?
Right.
All right, so we can use write ln or just write, whichever one you want to use. And we don't use double quote, we use single quote in Pascal. And each line should end with a semicolon, as you can see from up here. We have to end it with a semicolon. Apart from like the var and begin and so on. But the others end with a semicolon. If you don't put this semicolon, you're gonna get an error. What do we use to replace the inputs? What do we use as input in Pascal?
Read
Read.
All right, so you can use read ln. So you say read ln a. And again, we replace the print with what? How do you replace
right
print with?
LN.
Right.
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 And the inputs is replaced with read ln. Again, we replace the print with. And the input is replaced with read ln. So enter a number. This is not the one that we had. It seems to be our own one. This is something else. I need to refresh the page. And it's like this. This one is the one. So we'll stop that. All right, it's still running the old one, so I think I need to switch the browser. Or just close this. Close. I want to switch the browser so you can actually see it. All right, so there it is. It's asking us here to enter for first name, last name, a date of birth, and so forth. So that's what this program does, just prompt the user for last name, first name, and date of birth. Are we following that?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
All right, how many, as you can see a while ago, when we run the program, we were only allowed to enter one name, as in one person's name. So the first name, last name, and the date of birth. What if we want to allow the user to enter multiple names, but probably stop when a particular name is entered? So let's say we want them to enter as many names as they wish until the name Alex is entered. Alex is entered for first name. How do we accomplish something like that? How
Sir,
do we
can you
accomplish?
repeat?
If you want to allow the user to enter multiple names until the name Alex is entered, how do we go about doing something like that? What do we use to achieve repetition in our program? What do we use to achieve repetition in our program?
A loop.
Loop, sir.
Loop. What are the different types of loops that we have? At least in Pascal, what are different types of loops?
For loop.
So we have the for loop. What else do we have?
While.
While. And what else? I gave you 3 of them. So you have the for, the while, and one more.
Repeater. Repeat until.
You repeat until. Good. So which of them would you use if you want to have this code repeated until Alex is entered?
Repeat until.
Until.
Okay. Where should I put the repeat? Which line? Which line should I put it?
Repeater.
Sir, is it supposed to go under beginning?
Very
Begins.
good. Right, under the begin. So the part of the code that is to be repeated would be this. So if you want this to repeat until Alex is entered, you just need to surround this with the repeat until. So anything that falls within the repeat until will be repeated until whatever condition is met. So it do something like repeat. Until what happened? What are we supposed to repeat until?
Sir, till I get the name.
Yeah, it says.
Till I get
Until we
till I
get
get
Alex.
until you get
Until get Alex.
Right. Until what is Alex? Which of the variables will be equal to Alex? Which of the variables on the screen should be equal to Alex?
A, sir.
A. So it'll say repeat until A becomes Alex. So repeat until A is equal to Alex. So that would have the code here repeated. So if we let's put in some name, Henry, Morgan, date of birth, say keys, it's repeating as you can see. Kevin. Yes. All right. So keep repeating. Just repeating. Are you seeing that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What should I do when I want it to stop? What should I do to stop it?
Write the person name Alex.
For which are the names? Last name, first name, which one?
The first name, sir.
All right. All right, so there it is. So once you put in Alex, it stops. Stop it. Well, this was done using the repeat loop. It could also be done using the while loop. So you could have also used the while. So you guys need to make a note of that.
Yes, you make a class. Because
Let's
when
see.
you have the play game, me they bother you.
You need to mute your mic. You're gonna be talking to your brother or whoever it is. All right. What if we wanted to use the while loop for this? How would you go about that? For the same situation, we wanted to repeat until Alex is entered. How could we do this using the while loop? If you don't want to use a repeat loop, how can you use a while loop to achieve this? Anyway, you guys will have to figure that out. But here we have an example of the while loop. What is this doing? Read what is on the screen. Are you seeing the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me what this program is doing? What do you think it's doing? Can somebody read the code? Literally read what is on the screen. Let us all hear, please. Can somebody read what is on the screen?
Begin, write LN, enter number, read LN number, while number less than greater than 27.
All right, this means not equal to.
Okay, sir. Not
read it.
equal to 27. Do begin. Write ln. Enter a number. Read ln number. End.
Okay. Does anyone have any idea what this is saying? And what are these two lines asking for? What is happening in line 6 and 7?
Sir, it output or input the
Repeat, please.
So
sir.
it's asking you to input a
Sir, when it,
number.
I didn't hear you. I didn't hear you.
Sir, it's asking to input a number.
It's asking the user to input a number. Good. Are you seeing those two lines anywhere else?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Where do you find them?
10 and 11.
And it's asking to input a number. And what is that line 8? What do we call that? What is that? Whatever statement do we have in line 8?
While a number is less than or equal to 27.
And the while is what? What do we call the while statement? What do we call while, students? What is it? The while is an example of a what?
Hello.
A loop. And what do we use loops to do?
Repeat a certain statement or something.
So use a loop to achieve repetition or to carry out some repetition. So I'm gonna run this program and you tell me what you think is happening. So it's asking to enter a number. Enter 45, press enter, 66, and so on. What can you tell? What is happening here? What is happening in this program based on what is going on? Based on the inputs that it's asking for.
Sorry, they repeat the number there until I give it a specific number I want.
So if I want to stop the repetition, what should I type in?
27.
27.
27. All right. So this program is prompting the user to enter a number repeatedly until 27 is entered. So with the same idea that is used here, you could then write or convert this program, which was previously written using the repeat until. You could convert that into using a while loop. So we could actually implement this using a while loop if we so decide. So you guys can think about how to get that done. Also, so you need to get the loop part implemented in your program, the program for your SP, that is. And when you're finished writing it, you need to save it to your computer. Don't just save it in the online here. Copy it into like a Word file and save it, or into a Notepad file and save it. And then you guys need to do the calculation part. So you need to work out the discount and all of these things. So you're gonna read the instructions and work out those. I'm gonna stop here.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes?
Sir,
Yeah, I'm here now. Go ahead.
so you can show how to, can you save it? Because every time I try to save it, it's not saving.
That's why I'm telling you to copy the code. Copy this, copy these, copy. Following that?
Yes, sir.
Open up Notepad on your computer and paste it in there and save it. Save it on your computer and Notepad.
Okay,
When you're ready
sir.
to continue working on it, just copy it back from Notepad to this, and you make your edits. And when you finish, you copy it back and save it in the Notepad. Is that clear?
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So we'll stop here. I'll share the link. I'll send the link to Miss, and she can send it to you. The link of the recording if you want it. All right. In fact, I can send the link from now. Let me see if I get it. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. Here's a link. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen.
Hi, sir. Sir,